If you've ever wanted to really get a handle on the stock market, chances are you've heard of this book. It came out over 70 years ago, but The Intelligent Investor isn't just some classic. For a lot of people, it's the absolute Bible of investing. So today, we're going to dive in and break down its timeless wisdom.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. When Warren Buffett, arguably the most successful investor in history, calls it by far the best book on investing ever written, you're dealing with something special. He first read it when he was just 19 years old, and he still swears by it today. So who was the man behind this masterpiece? To really get what this book is all about, you have to understand the author, Benjamin Graham. And here's the thing. He wasn't some academic in an ivory tower. He was a professional investor who learned his lessons the hard way.
Graham's entire philosophy was forged in fire. He knew poverty after his father died. He watched his own mother get totally wiped out speculating in the 1907 crash. And then, even after he became a pro on Wall Street, bam, the great crash of 1929 hits, and he loses almost 70% of his money. These weren't just numbers on a page. This was real, painful experience that shaped his entire focus on one thing: protecting your money.
And what was the result of all those hard lessons? Well, after surviving the Great Depression, his investment firm, Graham-Newman, went on an absolute tear, posting an average annual return of 14.7% for 2 straight decades. Now, that might not sound huge, but it absolutely crushed the market average of 12.2%. This wasn't just theory. His principles delivered incredible market-beating results in the real world. Okay, so let's get into Graham's most fundamental idea. It all starts with a question that you absolutely have to ask yourself before you put a single dollar to work. And the question is this: are you an investor or are you a speculator? For Graham, this isn't just about labels. It's everything. This right here is Graham's definition. And trust me, every single word matters. An investment needs 3 things. 1, you've done your homework. That's the thorough analysis. 2, you're pretty darn sure you're not going to lose your initial stake. That's safety of principal. And 3, you expect a satisfactory profit, an adequate return. If you're missing even one of those pieces, you're not investing, you're speculating. So let's break that down. An investor, they analyze a company like they're thinking about buying the whole thing. They're focused on its long-term value, and above all else, their number one job is to protect themselves from a huge loss. A speculator, on the other hand, they're playing a totally different game. They're just betting on which way the price will move next. They're all about trends and charts and trying to guess what the crowd will do. And Graham doesn't pull any punches here. He says that buying a stock just because its price is going up is, quote, the exact opposite of sound business sense. Think about it. It's the most popular strategy out there. But Graham, looking back on a 50-year career, said he never knew a single person who made money consistently just by following the market. Okay, so if we're not supposed to follow the market, what in the world are we supposed to do? Well, that brings us right to the core principles of intelligent investing, the timeless wisdom that has guided giants like Warren Buffett for their entire careers. It really boils down to these 3 incredibly powerful ideas. First, always remember a stock isn't a lottery ticket. It's a tiny piece of ownership in an actual business. Second, you have to think of the market as a moody business partner. When he's euphoric, he'll offer you crazy high prices. When he's panicking, he'll offer you incredible bargains. Your job is to ignore his mood swings and just take advantage of the prices he offers. And third, the most important rule of all, always, always insist on a margin of safety. This is hands down my favorite of Graham's analogies, and it explains the margin of safety perfectly. When you go buy groceries, what do? You look for good quality at a fair price. You're being practical. But when people buy perfume, they're buying a story, an image, and they're paying a massive markup for it. Graham says you have to treat stocks like groceries. Focus on the real value you're getting for the price you pay, not the hype. You see, it all comes back to one simple question: how much? It's not about if a company is a great company. The question is whether the price you're paying for it is a good price. Forgetting to ask how much is the single biggest mistake that leads to financial disaster. All right, let's get to the final and, frankly, the most profound lesson in the whole book. Graham argues that after you've learned all the numbers and all the principles, the biggest challenge you'll ever face has nothing to do with the market at all. It has everything to do with you. So let me just ask you, who do you think is your single greatest threat to reaching your financial goals? Is it a stock market crash? A bad economy? Is it Wall Street greed? What is it? Well, according to Graham, it's none of those things. The answer is the person looking back at you in the mirror. He says the investor's chief problem And even his worst enemy is likely to be himself. Now, that is a radical idea. It means having a high IQ or getting more information isn't what makes you successful. The real battle isn't fought on a stock chart. It's fought inside your own mind. It's about controlling the fear and the greed that makes so many people buy high and sell low. It's about having the discipline to stick with your plan when everybody else is running for the hills. Because as Graham put it, how your investments behave is way less important than how you behave. And that's really the ultimate takeaway. Graham's final message isn't about stock tips or some secret formula. It's this incredibly empowering truth. Your financial success doesn't actually depend on Wall Street or the economy. The secret is inside you. It's in your temperament, your discipline, and your willingness to think for yourself. And that is a lesson that is truly timeless.